Hey guys, I'm half hour early. Bit slack actually. Who's watching? Two watching now. I probably look half shot. I've still got sawdust on my glasses. Look at that. How cool is that? Obviously, so much I've done since I got home. We've got 6 watching. Here's James. Hey James, you're up early. 10 points. John, just the person I wanted to talk to. Bill, good day. Peter, hello. I'm a bit early. Actually, I was a bit late, but I wasn't all that organised today. Probably haven't done very much, to be honest, since I got home. I'm feeling a little bit more like better than last night. I had a good night's sleep, but Tuesday knocked me about because I worked pretty hard Tuesday. Today wasn't so bad. John, have you got a DeWalt tyre inflator? If so, which of the 3 available do you have, and is it any good? There we go. There's a question. Does anyone else have a DeWalt tyre inflator? I feel like I need one. There's a $60 one and a $139 one and a $219 one. I don't have COVID. I'm just working for a living for the first time for a long time. So I'm a bit worn out. And almost exclusive diet of sawdust. So most of it is probably John says no. Okay, I have to make my own mind up. I think the $219 one has a 4.9 out of 5-star review, which is on Bunnings is generally pretty reliable. So that's what I want. Anyway, it's on the wish list. No, I just go and buy one. My audio is probably better than it has been, but my picture's probably lousy. And I'm here sitting back in the lunchroom because honestly, there's nothing much to show you outside. I could take you down to the roller. I was going to do things with the roller tonight. Didn't happen, unfortunately. And to be honest, it's dark down there. There's no lights. We could plug the torch in and go down. Some of it's ashpan dust probably, but I got most of that out. I've still got to lift the fire bars out. We could have gone down and done that. There's a fun job for a live stream. Who am I kidding? It's probably the worst imaginable live stream job there is. Because you know I'm going to get black and ashy, and you know that you're going to get black and ashy, and you know that the phone's going to get black and ashy, and I know that everything else is too. Anyway, hey Nigel. There was a video apparently from Nigel last night. That's a bit exciting. I went to bed early last night, like 7 o'clock, because I'm half dead actually. There is. There's an update yesterday. I hope you're doing all right, Nigel. I really do. What's everyone else up to? There was some. It's cold in the dark, and I've done a hard day of this work. Actually, I've been on axe handles today, pretty exclusively, and blockbuster handles, or what we call sledgehammer handles. Blockbuster and sledgehammer handles are sort of the same, but they're just a little bit different. My only difference is so we can tell them apart for actual stock take. I think that's probably the only thing that's different about them, but I don't think there's any other reason. Yeah, so we start blockbuster handles tomorrow when the rest of the sledgehammer handles are done. So I've got, I think there's about 100 sledgehammer handles to do left, and then there's probably about 300 blockbuster handles. Glad you're back in the workshop, Nigel. And there's still, we'll finish the axe handles. Finish the axe handles about 1 o'clock. And now there's fire axe handles, which are more an American style axe handle, I guess. They're an American or a throwing axe style handle with the same shape in them, like with an eye like a standard axe. So yeah, there we go. That's enough about work, but that's what's happening. Matt Peterson is talking about coming back to Australia in January or February. There we go. It's pressing news, and you probably should put your hand out. If you've got an event in Australia in January or February that doesn't require firefighting or rescue boats in floodwaters, let Matt know, because he's looking for interesting events. He's very welcome to come and spend some time here and stay, but if he's seen everything we've got to show, probably not, but yeah. And I can't think of any motor racing or heritage or drinking events that might actually be happening January or February. And I did have a bit of a search, so not really winning there. James P's got ball joints and upper control arms on the truck. It sounds like a fun job. I'm too scared to look at mine at the moment. Bill's worth a visit, and he'll be drinking beer, but he won't be drinking good beer. He'll only be drinking 4X probably. If we're going to go there. I'll come and see us. Hopefully we should have some accommodation by then too. So might be able to get your factory tour, but I'm not sure about that. And I should be pretty well established and settled in here by then. For some reason, we probably have a rat or some sort of problem. I'm not sure what it is here in the kitchen. I don't know how they get in, but and it's not been a problem till last night. And I left a box of Nutri-Grain folded over on the bench, which has been there for a week, to be honest. And when I come back this afternoon, it was sort of scattered everywhere with small droppings. So I'm not really sure. I've had a bit of a clean up. I'm not sure what that is. Nigel might be an AI bot by now. It might be less time consuming, to be honest. The Wooden Boat Festival is in Hobart. That's a kind of a cool thing. Yeah. Sydney and Hobart Yacht Race too. James, I probably do. I wonder where it is. I should have to find it. Base asbestos, yeah. We have a possum problem, but they seem to have been diminished slightly because someone was baiting them and relocating the possums. So I don't know what happened there. But I think there's still possums here. There was one run across the shed when I was out there coming in earlier. So I don't believe there's one in here unless someone left the door open today and it got in. But who knows? No one said anything about it, so it's a bit strange. Probably the move in the launch town this weekend. That's just something that is happening. I am moving house so that as we speak. I've got tomorrow at work all day and then Friday morning, 6:30 till 12 or something. And then Friday night I'm going home. I've got things to do, people to catch up with and stuff to pack up. I'm going to have a bit of a go on Saturday at packing stuff up. Friday afternoon, Saturday, pack my lathe up. Probably bring the lathe and the welder at this point. And a lot of small stuff, workshop stuff, tools, taps and dies and reamers, stuff like that. MIG welder or TIG welder and probably whatever will go in, to be honest. And I'll take a load down. and be back here. I reckon I'll probably go to Petrie on Sunday once I'm packed, and then on my way home, I'll come home directly from there at this point and unload some stuff before it gets too late Sunday night. So I've got somewhere to sleep again. And yeah, so that's... Hey, Tinker. Hello. So that's sort of what's happened this weekend. And then the next weekend, my mate Marty is bringing a truck down because he's got to pick up a steam engine that he won't tell anyone about because he's scared that someone else will be there first and get it, which is very unlikely to happen. But we like to have our little secrets. He's actually bringing a truck down through Brisbane to Sydney. So he's going to pick up my milling machine and my lathe bench and whatever else will fit on. Probably that cabinet with all the lathe parts in it, which is that's kind of crazy heavy even on its own. A couple of tool chests, stuff like that. And get that down next weekend. So we should have some stuff ready to sort of break together. I still haven't got power on in the shed. We're still haven't signed a lease on the shed, so I'm not sure what's happening there. I'm going to have to chase that up in the next few days, probably tomorrow. Anyway, hey, Stuart. So that's really starting to happen at this point. So I've got 2 trips these next 2 weekends to Queensland again. What else? Everyone's sort of wondering where on earth I am down here in the sticks, I guess, unless you've Googled it. We'll look that up. I reckon we can do that. And let's have a look at this. Let's see if we can have a look at the map. I think this is the thing we could do. Let's have a look. Rather than looking at me, which is not really... There we go. At least we can do it. Middle of nowhere. Mailing address. We will have a mailing address sorted. I'm going to get a post office box here, I think, in the next couple of days, probably tomorrow or Friday before I come up. So I'll keep you posted on that. Excuse the pun, but there is a post office in town, so I'll have a post office box. There's no actual mailing address here. Anyway, let's have a look here. There's Glen Ray, just there. Right, there we go. Not anywhere near the heart. Henry, good day. Yeah, Harry's probably are an issue down here. This is probably more like where we are. Right, here's Gold Coast up here. This is where I used to work. This is Port Macquarie. Here somewhere at, where are we? Here somewhere. This is about halfway to Sydney. Right, from Gold Coast to Sydney is about here, and we're up here, like in the middle of nowhere. There's Grafton, there's Coffs. About halfway between, we're there somewhere. Let's zoom in a bit further. So Grafton's there. There. This is the town of Grafton, city of Grafton, and this is the city of Coffs Harbour. I think they're both cities now. For that. Here we go. This is Glenray. This area here. Now, it's not very big. We'll zoom out a bit. Right. Is that helpful? And Machine NZ, g'day. Right, so that's what we've sort of, that's Glenray. I guess you can see my cursor sort of. That way goes to Grafton, up to Shenandoah. And this way goes to Coffs, basically. Coramber and Narnaglan and Coramber and Coffs is down that way. This one here, if you go out this way, out here, goes to Dorrigo and all point in between. We're not much at Dorrigo. This is the Talawodja Creek here. And this here is the Arara River, which is quite a big river, actually. This here used to be a railway station once. The XPT still runs through there, but the train doesn't actually stop. You can't get off the train at Glenray. So, but it is the main south line. So the trains go through there reasonably regularly. The old railway line used to come around here, right out there. Right, and that used to go into the Dorrigo line, which is very hilly and very pretty, but there hasn't been a train through there for a long time either. In fact, this part of the line here between basically this set of points and here to Wallum Street is missing completely. This piece of railway line here, through here too, about here somewhere. So from there back through here is still reasonably intact, right? This is the shop, right? There we go. That's it. That's Glenray. Right. There's the pub and the bakery. See, that's the general store. And this is the bakery. Where's the pub? Good question. One of them's a pub. Unless we go street view, we're not going to find out, are we? Here we go. We drop a little guy. There's the general store. How cool is that? There's a church. Don't know which church. That there is the post office. There we go. with the post office box out the front. It's very industrious. This place down here is the bakery. Right. Move down here. None of these. Bit of this is probably an older picture because this says there actually used to be a shop here, but I don't believe there is now. There could be something else. That's more like what it is. So I'm not even sure there's a telephone box there now. There we go. And if we go further up here, also says it's a police station. I didn't know that. There is a police station with a vault. Right. And this here'd be the pub. There's the Golden Dog, as evidenced by the Golden Dog. You're on top of that. This is the School of Arts. Mark Shed Talk, good day. Mark forgot it was 7:30. That's all right. So did everyone else, and so did I, really. So we come through here. This is the School of Arts. Yeah. What happens at the School of Arts? This is the hall, I guess. There's roadworks down there, obviously, or there was at that point. So, I'm not sure what this building is here. I've never really noticed. It's the Post Office Museum there. I haven't been to the Post Office Museum. This place is fairly recently renovated. And there's a couple of vacant shops or people living in shops along here, but there's nothing else much in Glenray. I think that building down there is the Rural Fire Service. This one here. Yeah, Rural Fire Service. There's even a fire truck out waiting for the Google Street Company truck. The Google Street View car. This place here, what's this? This is CWA, Country Women's Association of New South Wales. So that's pretty well it. There's a park on this side. It's called Shannon Park. We'll have a look. That's it. It's been much more renovated than it is there. Come down to this corner. The railway station's out there, which isn't really a railway station. Harbour's that way. And 27 to the Pacific Highway that way, which I've not actually been that way, but maybe there it is that how it works. Up Bridge Street, because it all happens up Bridge Street. Is a school. So, Joe, if you're watching, there's a school you can come and teach at. It's all happening there. With small children. And the rec ground's down there. Is everyone following so far? So, yeah, this sign here, if we take a closer look at this sign, it says rubbish dump. There we go. The Glenray Waste Transfer Station, hours of operation is Wednesday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Still getting to grips with not having anywhere to put rubbish out. So that at the moment is probably the most complicated part of living here. So let's see something. This is George Street here at this point. Down past the school. Don't know how far Street View actually goes. But they're not doing a bad job. I'm a little bit impressed. This has all been washed out and been re-gravelled just here. Right, I live down here. Well, this is where I am. If you want to come and find me. And this becomes Railway Street. I don't think anyone actually lives on Railway Street. They might. That might be a Railway Street address. That house there, which is adjacent to the... This might be a Railway Street address, but I'm not sure about that. We no longer use these gates. Right. And this says Glenray Mountain Railway, does it? It does say welcome to. Those signs have been pulled down because it's no longer Glenray Mountain Railway. But there's 2 box wagons in a water tank, I think. I'm not an expert on these things. And that's where the railway line starts again. Right, that's it. There. That point. Right. That's as far as we can go. So Street View doesn't go down to Wadham Street, which is down there near the railway station. See, there's a shed there at the railway station. And in the back, can we see that? Probably almost. See, there is a wheelie bin there. Very interesting. As far as I know, the wheelie bin's never been put out, so I don't know if any rubbish disposal actually comes. If we look down here, right down here, the shed here with the twin roller doors right at the back, with the transmission tower sticking up behind it, is the Shannondale steam shed. There's a lot more sleepers and bridge sections and things in here at the moment. And we've got a gate down the side, and this is lawn mow that I've just all nicely mowed, so please don't drive on it. And there's a chain on this main gate. So that's very interesting that there's a wheelie bin there, and I shall have to look that up. But that's to Wadham Street. So it would be very nice to have a win, but I haven't seen one, and I'm not at all confident that anyone collects it, but I'd like to find out, because it would be very nice to put rubbish out, because it's a bit of a pain only having the refuge, the waste disposal station, which is just down there, by the way. It's, you take the 2 roads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8. That's where we're at with members. 10 biscuits. Good day. Good to see you. So that's that. That's about all we can see on the Street View here. So let's go back here to, we'll close that. Right? This is where we're at. There's a lot of trees around. So this is George Street, and this bit in here is Railway Street, in under the trees here. And this house here might be actually Railway Street, or it might not. Right. Now, this is Toronto Street here. Right. There's another house in here, which is owned by Telewood Ventures, and they lease it out, I think. This road goes in here somehow, and that must be the tip, I think, there. Don't know how that works. Don't know what it is with that. If you come in this gate up here, which is here somewhere in the fence. My van's parked in here somewhere. And what's not immediately obvious is that there's a railway line that runs down beside the shed there. Right. Really a lot of ground cover and stuff. Anyway. So this is what used to be the Glenray Mountain Railway. So it's temporarily closed. Is now Telewood Ventures Railway Workshop, which is kind of cool. So Raymond, g'day. We're just TMB. We're all just having the Glenray New South Wales tour. This is it, basically. You haven't missed anything yet. So this shed in here, this is 5G channel. This shed here, which is not particularly well marked, it's got trees overhanging it and stuff, but there's a shed there. That's the Shenandoah Steam Shed Clubhouse. This rail here is currently undergoing some maintenance to get it back up to some sort of standard. Right, it runs all the way down here. It's quite an embankment around here. And over the road, and I think there's sort of half serviceable railway line down to the creek here where the bridge is washed out. As far as I know, I'm not that far. I'm sure there are people who have, but I haven't. This huge complex here. Right. Oh, thanks, Peter. Thanks. Never thought to do that. This complex here is work, basically. I live here. It's only sort of not from here. It's about a 5-10 minute walk to the railway crossing here. I think the railway crossing's there. Yep. I think. There's definitely a railway crossing. I'm not sure where it is. I think it's there. Somewhere here. Been down there. I've done the trip a few times. Right. There's the sawmill pond. Right. Which is probably nice looking from the ground view. Can we do it? No, we can't do a street view from here. Through private property, it doesn't work. So anyway, this is the mill with some sort of, what can we find for scale? not sure. I think this has probably been upgraded several times. I'm not sure this is a particularly good sort of, because I park just here under this heap of timber. This is car park now. And most of this at the moment is pretty full of timber. This is sawdust disposal. This is the joinery shop. This is the mechanic shop. This is the board mill. I believe this is the telegraph line pole or the power pole mill. This is the office building. So there we go. One of these is the power pole mill. It is evidenced by a lot of power poles kicking around. We make a lot of power poles. So that's where I work. It's as big as the town, sort of. You see that, sort of. It's kind of bigger than the town, nearly. But this area here, this shop here is a fairly big shed, but half of it, this half's joinery shows split level in here. This half is the bottom half down here inside this side door. Is that right? Yeah, there's been extensions because the joinery shop's actually in here where these cars are parked. I can recognise these three cars, but this has been updated because this container sits outside the joinery shop out here. The container's still there for storage, but the tool handle shop is here. I think it's actually bigger than that. It's a lot bigger than three cars. Anyway, I work there somewhere. The rest of this up here is marquetry. This through here is the Dow mill and downstream processing. And a lot of this is kiln dried timber storage as well. And this is all kiln dried timber storage. This is basically the joinery shop. Yep. So that's it. Anyway, just to put that in context. So if you're looking for that in Australia, there's the coast. We're about 30 kilometres, something like that, from the coast, from some really nice little coastal places. We're probably 50k, something like that, from Grafton, which is that town there. That's quite a big town. Right. Fridge, we all know from the chat, he lives. Anyway, if you want to find him, we won't go looking for him, but he lives out here somewhere. There's Shannon Hale. Jericho Road. Shenandoah Road, he lives out here. This is Shenandoah Road out here. And there's the Shenandoah Dam. And he's out here just before you go down the dam out here somewhere. So, there's pretty desolate country. So, we're here. This is getting into Coffs Harbour down here. We're here, right? This is us. And Australia, we're here somewhere. This is Brisbane up here, which is what, 300 and something kilometres. And Sydney down here. So distance between Brisbane and Sydney is 1,000 kilometres. We're somewhere in between. For some sort of comparison, Peter's up here somewhere. Give you some idea. I think he's here somewhere. Is that right, Peter? Anyway, so to give you some sort of comparison, he's there and I'm here. So it's a couple of 2,500 kilometres away. Bill's down here, if you want to sort of Bill's down here. So we're about the same distance. We're about halfway between Peter and Bill. Fringe is probably the closest YouTuber. Who else is around who's a YouTuber? I'm sure there's several. There's a couple of guys. There's a guy who does source to sea videos, like river exploration videos. I think he's a local. Peter's 23 hours north. T&B is probably, I can't scroll that screen. Over here somewhere. Oh, and I'm just guessing, but I really am. But I'm guessing here somewhere. How close am I? Don't know. TMB, where am I? How close? No, hang on. I did know better than that. Out here, maybe. Maybe. I did know. Honestly, I did know. Somewhere in this area. There we go. Hour south, okay. Hang on, I've backed up my halfway between London and the coast. It's just about everywhere in England. Find Eggs and Bacon Bay. Let's find Eggs and Bacon Bay while we're looking at this. All right. If you're going on a boat, that's the way you got to go. I could cheat and type it in. We're doing real well here. I'm going to cheat, sorry. Oh, okay, I was way out. There we go. Eggs and Bacon Bay. So that's where Bill is. I was thinking they were down there, but yeah, okay. So there's Bill. We'll scroll that out. It's got a red marker. So Marty is in Eden. That's right. Eden is easternmost point of Victoria, isn't it? On the beach here. There. Marty's here somewhere. That's Eden. So we're all a bit spread out. Fair way across here. Max and Bruce are over here. Max is here somewhere. Bruce is here somewhere, and Max is further up here, I think. Anyway, not really looked. Stuart's close enough to Devonport, I think, which is here somewhere. See how close I am. Here. He's actually down here somewhere. About there somewhere is where Stuart is. Presso is the other Australian YouTuber that everyone might know. He's way up here, past Brisbane. Bundy Bear Shed is here in Bundaberg. Right. Clickspring and Clickspring's up here, right? Which is a long way north. Can't remember where Peter is. I've got to maybe go out here to this place called Blackwater, right? Which is this little town here at some point in the near future, because it's something I'm very interested in actually looking at up there. But it's quite a trip, and I'm not really feeling like it at this point. Anyway, there we go. That's where Australian YouTubers all are. All very cool. But that's what Glenray looks like. It's a little country town. There's not a lot here except a general store and a bakery. The bakery closes at 2 and the general store doesn't open until 7. So generally there's at least one thing open. And yeah, there's a sawmill basically. Peter I will be very disappointed if I click that link and there isn't you doing a moon for the Google Street View. I think I'll be disappointed. It's very difficult to sort of tell whether I'll be disappointed or not until it happens. But I'm feeling that there will be feelings about it. Either way. What else happened? My weekend. What happened my weekend? I mowed the lawns until I got a flat tire. So mowed most of the grass around the place. What else did I do? Went all the way down here to, oh my gosh, Maxville, which is here. Went down to Maxville, which is this little town here with the bridge. Out Ferry Street here. No, on this side it must have been. Didn't go into Maxville. Anyway, there's showgrounds out here, and there was a Rusty Iron Rally is at Maxville every year, which was, there it is out there, the Rusty Iron Rally. So I went out there on Sunday afternoon, stopped on the way back and washed a car and stuff because it was long overdue. Did a few jobs, called into Bunnings and stuff too. Anyway. The Maxville Dragons actually got caught on camera. It's a boat. We could drop a pin there and say it is the Maxville Dragon. Feels like something we should do. Mac. Should make this all proper and put capitals and stuff, I guess. We could call it religion, I think. There we go. Is there room for some other information? Okay. There we are. We've improved Google Maps. We put the actual Maxville Dragon there. You saw it here first. Take care, Max. Good luck with that. Gosh, 7 hours round trip. That's a bit crazy. Take care and see you sometime soon. It's a deal. So, anyway, Rusty Iron Rally. Let's have a bit of a look. What was it, Rusty Iron Rally? We could probably find some video if anyone's interested. I'm actually doing okay this week. Tonight I was feeling a bit I'm starting to feel a bit sort of exhausted, but let's see what I've got here in video, if I've got anything. Sorry guys, just looking for a video. No video. We can share some images though. I think I've got pictures. There we go. So I guess to me, stars of the show, probably this, if anyone's really interested, as far as engines go. This is a standard open crank upright, a post engine, I guess you would call it. Belongs to a friend of mine in Queensland. And he's sort of spent quite a lot of time on it. We can't, that doesn't do that. It doesn't do that at all. It didn't work. Lots of new parts, but nice little it's a nice little hit and miss engine, or big hit and miss engine. I think it's about 7 horsepower, something like that. To my mind, that was probably the stationary engine star. We'll keep looking. I'm not sure anyone's here for stationary engines. A close second, actually. If we're going to go here, close second was probably this. This is something that most people won't have seen. And even in, no, that's not it. It's a Brownell. Okay, wrong picture. It's a little air-cooled Brownell. Yeah, the 8-track lives on. That's right. Correct. This is a little air-cooled Brownell from America. That's a nice little engine, integral head. One-piece bore head, air-cooled engine. It's nice. That was another really nice little engine that we saw there, or I saw there. Going to keep going. Straight after the National Rally, it was quite an effort. The people who brought stuff to this rally did pretty well, actually. The video of the stationary engine is... No, I didn't. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. What was I looking for here? Is this one, I think. Is that right? There probably will be more videos, absolutely. No nightlife. So yes, when I get my strength back up and I'm sort of in the place that I can some electricity and stuff, we'll certainly be doing a bit of time in the shed after work, because I finish at 4. So most days I'd have 2 or 3 hours of daylight, even 2 hours of daylight. This is an interesting engine, if anyone's interested in stationary engines. This is a gel bat. It's made in Ballarat in Victoria. Very unusual to see one this small. I think this is a 4.6. I think they call it a 4.7. 4 horsepower. And B, it's very unusual to see one in northern New South Wales or Queensland. I don't think I've ever seen one this far north. Usually you see them in kind of in the wheat belt in Victoria is where they were built for, and they made a tractor with the same engine, or a little bit bigger version. I think it's a 15 horsepower tractor, something like that. 12 or 15, I think it's 15. Look very similar, but this is a two-stroke. They're their own running system. It's a little bit unusual. It's a ported engine with valves, and it's kind of a crazy thing to see running and see how it works, and to actually restore the thing and get it going from a dead engine was a phenomenal job. But Gilbert, that's something that sort of interested me a bit. Gilbert brothers were in Ballarat and they built stationary and tractor engines for basically for wheat farmers. And this was in 1912, I think, this one. So there we go. That's the stationary engine highlights from the Rusty Iron Rally. I'm going to keep going, some more pictures. Hope you can put up with this. Tractor highlights. Probably this one. Oh, there will be some videos. Attention to detail and all that sort of stuff. This is a Chamberlain. Oh gosh, I'll tell you where I've got written down what model it is. But these were Chamberlain's basic spec. This was the spec on these. Basically, it was basically a cabin with a canvas top, full guards all round, a decent diesel engine and a fairly quick road gear and a good gearbox. So the Tractor Trek guys here in Australia love them. Like, they really are a very good road run tractor. You see lots of them. There was 2 or 3 in road runs at the National Rally. But this was tidy and detail was fantastic on it. Let's see if we've got some close-up pictures. Couldn't contact the owner because I had every intention of writing a bit of an article on this tractor. It was really nice. But yeah, Grandpa and Grandma's Sunday driver to town, that's kind of about it, to be honest. But they weren't a bad tractor. But close-up pictures. Some idea on the detail. Someone's put a lot of attention into this, a lot of detail. Pretty much everything on it was right. The colours were right. it's, yeah. Another picture. There we go. So everything was down in the Chamberlain mud flaps to the Made in Australia on it, the stencil and factory lights, all that stuff. Someone's put a lot of attention to details. Straight drawbar, like the spacer bars, actually straight. And they put a towing hitch for a caravan, which I'm guessing is every retired farmer's dream. And there's a lot of these going around. So Chamberlain orange. Chamberlain were bought out by John Deere for international sort of, probably because of this gearbox that they had. They were a pretty fantastic tractor, really. John Deere bought Chamberlain, and about the same time as they bought Land's Bulldog as well. So a bit after that, they bought Chamberlain in the 80s, did they? Not sure, but Chamberlain tractors are no longer a thing. But for a while, they were about as good as you could get in a big broadacre tractor in Australia. A lot of them had jams. Everything I own is filthy too, but this was a bit of a standout, actually. What else did we see at the rally? One more pick and we'll call it. Coffee sounds all right, except it's getting late. There wasn't a lot. I thought I got more pictures than this. I could have spent quite. This is, you don't seem to see very many. Don't see very many live steering videos from me nowadays without some sort of a vintage truck in them. So R190, Australian built R190 International tandem drive. I did have a look. It's not an extended chassis. It was actually shipped as a tandem drive, I think. You can't see any plating on it. So big truck in its time, R190 with a silver diamond. Is that right? I think it's an international one. I think it's a petrol one. They did come out with the Cummins as well in the latter years, some of the later ones. But I don't think it was R190. I think that was R195. I think. Anyway, international R190. Kind of the artwork on them sort of interests me, and I really like 40s and 50s trucks. That would be a D series international behind it, AD, I think. Could be AB. So a vertical headlight one. It might be a D series international. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for that. So, a lot of nice tractors at the rally. A lot of long shadows, you can see. So, photography wasn't really fun. But got some pictures, talked to some people, made some contacts, may have picked up an engine. We'll see how that goes. And had a good weekend. Come home, went to work as normal. So that was Sunday. It's very nice to have actual weekends to go and do things in actual places where there are events happening. I'm sure there were events in Brisbane too, but I just didn't get to them because, weekends just didn't happen. It's nice to be able to get things out of the way on Saturday and then have Sunday to do things like this. You can just see, if you have a look around the back there's a 1418 Benz coming around the bend. I learned to drive in one of those. I learned to drive a truck in one of those. Bit of a dog of a thing. And over the back there, I think that's probably, I reckon it's a K-Series Kenworth right in the corner. Wish I'd taken more pictures or video of the Grand Parade, but there was tractor judging in the middle of it, so it was a bit slow. Anyway, so that's that. That's what I did. Next week's going to be this weekend coming is going to be a moving weekend. I hope to get to the foundry and do some jobs, pick up some things. I should have some actual bits and pieces back here. From the foundry to actually show people. So that should be good. We should have some actual hands-on look at this what we've done stuff. Anyway, that's where I'm at. 57 degrees is, I'm guessing that's black and white measurements. Not sure how hot or cold 57 degrees is. And should have some parts back too, or some things back from up there. I'm not going to promise that we've actually got electricity, but we can go up there with some lights. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm out, I think, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's good to catch up with you all. Everyone's got new videos up. There's one from Nigel in particular I will have to go and watch. I'm not travelling an hour to work, so I don't get to watch as many videos as I used to. I'm going to have to make time for that. So it says 14 degrees. It's about the same as here, I guess. Oh my gosh. Anyway. I'm out. Thanks, guys. More soon. Sorry this is a bit amateur hour here tonight. There's not much to see, but yeah, we should have some lathe bits and pieces sort of ready to actually do some work on and repaint and put back together. I think I'm going to repaint it as it goes back together. Give the very least the bench top a bit of a clean up and bolt it all back up and make room for that new guard on it, and start talking about putting like foot pedals and stuff on it, which means a trip to Tasmania at some point, probably over Christmas. I've got time at Christmas and I should be sorted out by then, so probably Christmas might find me in Tasmania. You didn't hear that here. I've yet to confirm, but it might happen. Anyway, take care. Thanks, guys, for being nice, but it's not that exciting. And just sitting here in the kitchen. Anyway, take care, and more soon, guys and girls. I'm out. Be kind to each other.